Hello, friends. My name is Matt Wheeler, and I'm pleased to bring you my Fieldmoot 2025 session titled Longing for the Feast of Belonging. Let us begin. So, I'm going to share a set of stories and songs around the title theme about how there's a longing built into our existence for all of us, whatever shape that takes. The key thing to remember here is that we were made for Eden. Humanity was made to experience perfect relationship with God and with one another and with creation. And unfortunately, that got broken by the fall, by sin. And another important piece to remember is that those of us who have believed in Jesus, in his redeeming sacrifice for us, him dying for us, and rising again and defeating sin and death, that we are also destined for immortality, for perfection, like we were made for it. And so the question is, what do we do in this in-between times, in this now and not yet? And that is the theme of this suite of songs and stories. As we get started, the first song is called The Road and the Common. It is inspired by the Richard Adams novel Watership Down, which, in spite of its name, isn't about submarines. It's actually about rabbits. And so there's subterranean kind of things. Anyway, point is, rabbits. And so the basic story, just to catch you up in case you don't already know that classic work, which I do recommend reading the book. I haven't seen any of the TV or film or Netflix adaptations, but I've heard mixed reviews at best, but the book is wonderful, and it's about a band of rabbits living in a warren, with lots of other rabbits in seemingly safe and harmonious circumstances, until one of the rabbits gets this sense that something terrible is going to happen to their warren, and he tells the other rabbits, "We have to get out of here. We need to go find another place to live," and basically, not that many of the other rabbits take heed. Most of them don't. But there is a small band that does, including his best friend, Hazel. And for the purposes of the song, I should point out that one of the characters is name dropped, and that would be Silver. So, a bit of a spoiler alert if you haven't read the book. Something terrible does happen to their warren, and so basically our brave little band of heroes is homeless. Part of the longing they have is for a home, a place they can be safe and belong. And when we pick up where this particular song comes from, it's inspired by a chapter called "The Road and the Common," hence the title. And so they're between places. They are kind of placeless at the moment, or rather, they don't know what kind of place it is they've gotten into. And night is falling. It's one of their first nights away from their warren, and before they found anything safe. And so they have each other, and that's about it. The sun is setting. They start to hear the sounds of animals, some of whom like to make meals of rabbits, and there is understandably quite a lot of uncertainty. Now, I'll let the song do the rest of the talking as far as telling the story on that, except to say that the song could just as easily come from the mouth of a refugee, or someone who's estranged from their close family, or someone else who is just feels homeless, just doesn't feel like they have a place to be where they belong. I think that's all I'm going to say about it right now. I'm going to go and play the song. This is called "The Road and the Common." Empty of stars in the new twilights, we were running for the hills, running for our lives. The moon was rising over that broken ground, heard the dogs and the crows stirring all around. To start and start again, This is not our home, this is not our land. Don't know this soil, don't know these trees. Between the road and the common, looking for some peace. Between the road and the common, looking for some peace. Woke heart thumping to the sound of a shot. Sent us running for the cover that the night had bought. Silver, he said, I don't know if we can. Better find our brothers before we find that man. To start and start again. This is not our home, this is not our land. Don't know this soil, don't know these trees. Between the road and the common, looking for some peace. Between the road and the common, looking for some peace. Between the road and the common, looking for some peace. There it is. The song is called The Road and the Common. And I think that wherever you've been in life, you probably felt at times like you didn't belong. Like there were some ways that you just felt like you didn't fit, or that the world around you didn't fit you, who you're made to be. I think of the C.S. Lewis quote where he said, if I find in myself a desire which no experience in this world can satisfy, the most probable explanation is that I was made for another world. I would add that with the promise of heaven, of the new creation, and Jesus making all things new, that it's more in the sense of where another world like this world but recreated. I love the end of the book, the Last Battle. Yes, the last of the Narnia books. That's the words I was trying to think of. The Last Battle. And how the Pevensies and other main characters, they go further up and further into a new Narnia, and it's new and it's glorified essentially, but it's what they recognize places, they recognize the sites. I recognize that's from the Chronicles of Narnia and not Scripture directly, but I think that's a beautiful way of illustrating the truth of Jesus making all things new. It says he'll make all things new, not all new things. So that said, in the meantime, though, there's so much longing. There's so many things we don't. There's so many things we don't find an obvious answer for. Another C.S. Lewis reference, because I figure I'm among friends who can deal with my many C.S. Lewis references, is the fact that. In Surprised by Joy, he defined his definition of joy is like the German word Sehnsucht gets to the idea where it's a longing that's even better than mere earthly fulfillment. It'd be one way of putting it. So, with that said, I'll move on to my next song. But first, a little bit of introduction for it, and it will come back to the theme, I promise. So back when I was dating my now wife of 18 plus years, Charity, I wrote this song for her. It's one of the oldest songs that I've written that I still play, at least on occasion. And basically the genesis of the song is that I was strumming these chords, jamming with a friend, as I recall. I played these chords. There's like a... Sounds very breezy. And you know what it reminded me of? The Weather Channel. So if you ever, happen across the Weather Channel, intentionally, or you were in like a hotel lobby and they had it on, you're probably aware of what it is. The Weather Channel, of course, tells you about how, the breaking weather stories and the situations they're looking at throughout the country. Usually the most dramatic stuff, like bomb cyclones and hurricanes and snowstorms, and they have people broadcasting from the middle of them, like Jim Cantori getting excited about thunder snow. Which, if you haven't seen the video or videos about that, look it up, but not now. After this, and so the big dramatic stories, the drama is what they're going for, largely there, but. Perhaps the most helpful part, and I think the best part of the Weather Channel, is the Local on the 8s segment. Every 10 minutes, they tell you how the weather is going where you are, which is helpful. That is, genuinely useful information. But the music that they play is usually such lovely and easygoing stuff. It's kind of like 70s AM radio, like Bread meets smooth jazz, something like that. So... the band Bread, I meant. Maybe I dated myself by the reference. So I put together these chords, and it's like... I think it'd be befitting of the Local on the 8s, because you'd be hearing chords like this, and they would tell you something like... For Sunday, high of 90 to 30% chance of snow showers. Which wouldn't make any sense if you're paying attention to what I just said, but you get the idea. It's very soothing, and so the song is too, and it's called "The Weather" as a nod to the Weather Channel. And if you know the supervisor of music at the Weather Channel, let me know. Reach out. But the song is about missing someone that you love. My wife and I, when we were dating, we met through eHarmony, actually, and we lived about an hour and a half apart from one another in Maryland, and we'd see each other on weekends and go see her parents up here in Pennsylvania, and but there was a lot of time that we were just going about our normal days, and missing one another, and so that's what the song is about. It is called "The Weather." Diamonds in the sea, on an empty beach. Last time you were here with me. The weather's cool and clear, wind and waves are all I hear. I wish that you were here. And I wonder what you're thinking when you look up at the stars and the constellation that we used to claim as ours. I wonder in this moment if you're thinking of me too, when all that I can do is dream of you. I'm here without you. Oh, I'm here without you. For Monday. Hi. Just kidding. Here's the second verse. Some memories don't fade the way the nighttime turns to day, as gentle waves cascade. It thrills my heart for me to know your love for me has only grown. I love you more than you could know. And I wonder what you're thinking when you look up at the stars and the constellation we used to claim as ours. I wonder in this moment if you're thinking of me too, when all that I can do is dream of you. I'm here without you. Oh, I'm here without you. I'm here without you. I'm here without you. The weather's cool and clear, wind and waves are all I hear. I wish that you were here. There we have it. The Weather. it's I feel like I threw on my NPR voice right there, but the song just kind of puts me in that sort of mentality, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, I think that of all the kinds of longing that we readily can access in our own memories is longing for a person, longing for a loved one. And that one was about me missing my then girlfriend, then fiance, and now wife. And maybe you can sympathize, empathize. So the next one is also about missing a person. Well, if you know my work at all, you know that I often write songs based on classic works of literature, as referenced in the very first song, where I was referencing Watership Down. This one, though, references A Place on Earth. It's a Wendell Berry novel, his second novel, and that particular one is interesting. It's almost like a stitched together collection of short stories about this very particular time period in the 1940s in a fictional Kentucky rural community called Port William, which is the fictionalized version of the Port Royal community that Wendell Berry, my favorite author who's still writing today, of his work. So yeah, this is called Dear Nathan, and this is, I think, a treat. It's a Fieldmoot exclusive for now, at least. This is a song I haven't released. A song I haven't even properly recorded outside of perhaps a voice memo or GarageBand recording. And so in A Place on Earth, in Wendell Berry's novel, there's all these little vignettes, and a few different times this character named Burley Coulter is telling, he's writing letters to his nephew Nathan. A bit of backstory. So Burley and Jarrett Coulter are brothers, and Jarrett and his wife have two sons, Nathan and Tom, and Jarrett's wife passes away when the boys are still very young, and Jarrett just kind of doesn't know what to do with himself, and so he just it doesn't know what to do to raise his sons, and so his brother Burley steps in, and the boy's dad, Jarrett, is still in the picture, but just is a shell of himself, essentially. And so as the boys get older, they get to be old enough to serve in the military, and so they both go to serve in World War II. Tom, unfortunately, doesn't come back, and the time of the collection of letters I've kind of synthesized into a song here. This is in this uncertain moment where Nathan is still over across the Atlantic, fighting in World War II. He hasn't come home yet. In fact, actually, in A Place on Earth, there's a scene later in the book where there's a celebration in town when it's announced that World War II is over. But yeah, I mean, of course, there's so many young men from Port William who are, who are serving over there, and some don't come back, and some it's unsure at the time what's going to happen. Virgil Feltner is mentioned here. I'll let the song do most of the storytelling on the rest of this, but he's declared missing in action, which the family gets that news and aren't sure what to do, and Burley tells Nathan about it, and he's longing to see his nephew, who's almost like his son again. So here we go. This is called Dear Nathan.
Dear Nathan, for several days I've meant to write to you. Honestly, I hoped for better news, but I don't ever aim to lie to you. Dear Nathan, the same night you left to serve across the sea, in Europe Virgil Feldner was missing. least that's when the word came to me. I think a lot about you, I think a lot of you. Know that I'm proud of you, dear Nathan, dear Nathan. His family has been much on my mind. His dear Hannah, as you know, is great with child. I hope that he comes back to us alive. I think a lot about you, I think a lot of you. Know that I'm proud of you, dear Nathan, dear Nathan. It's still raining and I've got nothing to do but sit a while and compose these words for you. The river's rising high and I'm missing you. I think a lot about you, I think a lot of you. Know that I'm proud of you, dear Nathan. Lord bless you and keep you. Let me hear a good word from you. Know that I'm proud of you, dear Nathan.
There you have it. Dear Nathan. Yeah, it's certainly a song of longing. A certain cry for things to be made right, and be reunited with loved ones. The next song is called "Making It Home." It's set in 1945, and it's inspired by the Wendell Berry short story of the same name. And that short story is found in Berry's short story collection, That Distant Land. And so it follows a different member of the Port William membership, a young man named Art Rowan Berry, who at the time when he goes to serve in World War II is older than most of the other young people who go to serve in the U.S. military during that time. He finds that he finds himself in the Battle of Bastogne, and it's terrible, but he survives. But then there's a later incident where he and another soldier are I think they're on patrol. Anyway, suddenly a shell bursts, and kills the other soldier. And Mart wakes up in an army infirmary, and one of the nurses tells him, "Looks like the war's over for you." So indeed, he is sent home before the war is over, in the last year of it, in fact, but they didn't know that at the time. So he's sent home and he's transported back to a nearby town, and could wait till the next day to take the bus to Port William, but he decides he wants to get on home, and he has a lot to think about. And so this song is called "Making It Home," as I mentioned before, and it is about Art processing through what he's been through as he makes his way home. There's some Prodigal Son vibes, especially near the end. I hope you enjoy. This is called "Making It Home."
Arthur was a man before he was a soldier, and he was a farmer before he was a man. 12 miles on foot, but he was done with marching. He was only walking. The war was over for him, and his life grew back around the wound. He was making it home. Oh, after 3 years gone, making it home. Oh, now it won't be long, making it home. Though he'd been a stranger, walked in a strange land, now the war fell away. The warm light washed over that road through the valleys, geography and story, and sang a morning song. And his life grew back around the wound. He was making it home. Oh, after 3 years gone, making it home. Now it won't be long, making it home. Arthur saw his father, and he watched his brother working in their field. They hadn't caught sight of him, the shaking hands and laughing after all the asking after. Our own that was gone has come back again. Our own that was gone has come back again.
That's called Making It Home. That story thankfully has a happy ending, and the good news about all this longing I've been talking about is a common thread through these songs is that, well, okay, the main thing is that Jesus will make all things right and new, that justice will be served, that those who have suffered, have had afflictions, will be healed, and that's, I long for that day, Jesus come back and bring all of that. And there is the fact that the kingdom of God does break into our existence in the here and now too, where we get glimpses, and it could be like the scene. I love the idea of this young man reunited with his family. He sees his dad, he sees his brother. They may have known that he was coming back, but didn't know when. And walks right up to their field and shaking hands, hugging, laughing, just so relieved and so grateful to be together again. And we get moments like that, and that's beautiful. And they're certainly worth celebrating when we do. So I'm going to proceed along to the last song that will be part of my Fieldmoot 25 session. It's a tune called Arrows, also one of my older tunes. And this song is inspired by John chapter 8, a story of a woman caught in adultery. And how this connects with the theme is that whether we realize it or not, we all are longing for redemption. We're all longing for things being made right between our heavenly Father and ourselves. That kind of reunion that I was talking about in Making It Home, that happens with our Maker. And I think of the Blaise Pascal quote, where he wrote, well, translated into English, I should say, he wrote, "There is a God-shaped vacuum in the heart of every man, which cannot be filled by any created thing, but only by God, the Creator, made known through Jesus." You might have heard the idea of a God-shaped hole or God-shaped vacuum, or that our hearts are restless until they find their rest in Him. And I'm not remembering the source of that quote offhand. Someone can mention that in the comments if they would like. And yeah, it's this particular story. I think is just it's harrowing and it's beautiful. The account of the woman caught in adultery, brought before Jesus. And Jesus is teaching, and as the account begins, Jesus is teaching, and the Pharisees drag this woman in front of him, interrupts him and interrupts Jesus and says, this woman was caught in the act of adultery. The law says we should stone a person who has done that. What do you say we do? And I'm sure they thought they were pretty brilliant and pretty smart to have come up with this scheme, because when you think about it, Jesus could have said something like, "You're right. We should stone someone like this," and condoned her being killed. One major problem with that would be the fact that Israel was an occupied country at the time, under Roman authority, and so the people there did not have the right to execute people. So it could have been, Jesus could have been in trouble with the Romans. But of course, if he just said, like, "Don't worry about it, it's like not a big deal, just let her keep on going and living life the way she's doing," and that also would have undermined any moral authority he would have had. So what Jesus actually does, though, is something really brilliant, truly brilliant, and puzzling at first. He starts writing in the sand, and we don't know exactly what, but whatever he was writing, it really threw the Pharisees off their game. And he rises and says, "Whoever is without sin, let him cast the first stone." So the Pharisees realize their trap that they have set for Jesus is not going to work, and one by one, they peel off and go their separate ways. But the woman is still there, and so there is a question of what does Jesus say to her, and what he says is beautiful. He says, "Where are your accusers?" And the woman says, basically they're not here. They've all left. And he says, "Neither do I condemn you. Go and sin no more." It's so beautiful and so kind and loving. He's not suggesting, keep on sinning. He's not saying, that's it, you must pay the penalty now for your wrongdoing. He offers her redemption. She ends up experiencing a radical grace. And she is redeemed from her sins. Her maker has looked with kindness upon her. And I think that's something that we all want, wherever we're at. So this is a song called Arrows, and here it is. It's also going to sound like Dust in the Wind a little bit at the beginning. See what I mean? Like, I close my... Yeah, you get the idea. Anyway, this is called Arrows. You caught me speechless and silent with fear. They accuse me, maybe they're right about the burden I bear. You say nothing, just words etched into sand. Grace stooped down and offered me a hand. And these arrows, the wounds and the bruises I bear, I've got no rights to feel this healing I feel. And these arrows, the wounds and the bruises I've dealt, forgive me, speak the words that my heart needs to hear. Can I believe you? You've proved yourself time and again, but there are times when I need to feel your wounds with my own hands.
words etched into sand. You offer me your hand. These arrows, the wounds and the bruises I bear, I've got no rights to feel this healing I feel. These arrows, the wounds and the bruises I've dealt, forgive me, speak the words that my heart needs to hear.
That's called Arrows. Thank you so much for listening, for tuning in, for being part of Fieldmoot 2025, and for paying attention to this session. I don't take it lightly, the idea of people listening to original music. So the poet Robert Lax said, "Attention is holy. That's why everyone wants it." That may be a bit of a paraphrase, but I think that's really powerful. Thank you so much for tuning in to this Fieldmoot 2025 session. I hope that you're well wherever you're listening, and whatever longings are in your heart, know that all of the good and true and beautiful longings that are there will be made right through Jesus, and that we have that hope, and that he gives glimpses of that breaking into the world right now. The kingdom of God can shine through, and we can be agents of that. So with that, I leave you with that blessing. Until I see you next, or until that great feast of belonging that will be the greatest feast of all. I'm Matt Wheeler, signing off. Thank you so much, and take care.